What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's prediction video. For this one, we will be looking at some very exciting action taking place in Spain's La Liga this week Sunday on the 15th of September. It will be a new age Catalan derby that sees Girona host Football Club Barcelona. We start off our team analysis with the home side here being Girona. Now, the last few fixtures for Girona have ended in 2 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. Their last match was a 2-0 win away at Sevilla. In these last few fixtures, Girona have scored 7 goals and conceded 4. The first player I'd like to talk about for Girona has got to be centre forward Abel Ruiz. In 4 appearances, Ruiz has scored 2 goals. And he's being used right now to replace Dovbek up front in that target man position. This is a player who I think is always looking to apply pressure on the opposition goal. I think in Abel Ruiz, Girona have the perfect player to just round off all of their quick counter-attacking moves. In the heart of their midfield, I'd like to talk about new arrival from Manchester United, Donny van der Beek. In just 1 appearance for Girona, Van der Beek has already racked up a single assist. Van der Beek is the kind of player who you expect to see playing that typical Dutch midfield style of play, just being able to fit into multiple roles on the pitch, being able to control the game and dictate the tempo. He's a player who knows how to pass, how to dictate the play, how to just create for others, and I think that's something that Girona fans will really enjoy watching. And finally, I'd like to talk about Daley Blind at the heart of Girona's defense. In 4 appearances, Blind has perhaps not scored or assisted as yet, but he's really become a defensive leader for this team. Daley Blind has a wealth of experience from which he can draw to just inspire and motivate his teammates. But Daley Blind is the kind of player who's very good at reading the game. He's able to cut passes out before they reach their destination. He's aware of his lack of pace, but he more than makes up for it with his footballing intelligence. Next up, we look at the away side now for Football Club Barcelona. Their season openers have ended in 4 wins. The last match for the Blaugrana was a 7-0 win at home against Real Valladolid. In these last 4 fixtures, Barcelona have scored 13 goals and conceded 3 goals. So with Barcelona as well, you get a team that is getting the goals, shipping the goals, but always guarantees you action. The first player I'd like to talk about for Barcelona has got to be Polish centre forward Robert Lewandowski. In 4 appearances for his club team, Lewandowski has scored 4 goals and already managed to provide 1 assist. That is 5 goal contributions. Lewandowski is the perfect player to get you goals, and in this Barcelona team where there's just so much creativity but very little output, a player like Lewandowski is going to feast on goals going forward. Next up, I'd like to talk about Spanish attacking midfielder Dani Olmo. In 2 appearances for Barcelona, Dani Olmo has already scored 2 goals. Dani Olmo arrived from Red Bull Leipzig in the German Bundesliga and has fitted in so well at Barcelona. He was a player who was part of the youth academy at some point. He left and now he's back. And you can see that Dani Olmo is the midfield player that I think Barcelona really needed. With Dani Olmo, you have a player who can score goals, who can create. I think this is a player who's going to have a very bright future with Barcelona. And finally, I'd like to talk about Brazilian winger Rafinha. In 4 appearances for Barcelona, Rafinha has scored 3 goals and provided 3 assists for a total of 6 goal contributions. And we're seeing a different kind of Rafinha now. We're seeing a player with confidence, with direction, with motivation, a player who can beat players in 1v1 situations, who can deliver crosses, who can take shots, but most importantly, we're seeing a Rafinha who can score goals. Looking at the head-to-head between these 2 Catalan clubs, the last 5 fixtures between Girona and Barcelona have ended in 2 wins for Girona, one draw and then 2 wins for Barcelona. So surprisingly, this one looks very evenly split. When we look at the amount of goals scored, though, Girona have scored 8 goals in these last 5 meetings, while Barcelona have scored 7. So this is actually one of those weird fixtures where Barcelona aren't the favorites, and it's very rare that we actually see that. Looking at the teams and the lineups, Girona have a full strength squad. They can go out there and play their 4-3-3 counter as well as they want to. If they don't get the results, it's really down to them performing and not down to them missing anybody important. For Barcelona, though, they're going to go out there and try to play their 4-3-3 possession style of football, but they're missing some very important players. In their defense, they are missing Ronald Araujo and Andreas Christensen, who are both very important defensive players for them in the heart of that back line. In their midfield, Barcelona have problems. They're missing Bernal, who plays as a holding midfielder. They're missing Gavi, who plays as a central midfielder. Frankie de Jong and Fermin Lopez, who also can play pretty much anywhere in that midfield. So right now, Barcelona look like they're spread a little thin in those midfield areas. Up front, they're still missing the services of winger Ansu Fati, who remains on the sidelines through injury. If we look at the league table right now, Girona find themselves 5th with 7 points, while Barcelona are leading the La Liga on 12 points out of 12. They are currently the only team with a perfect start to the league. Girona actually won both those fixtures by the exact same scoreline, which was 4-2. So if anybody was questioning their credentials following their first victory, they went out and repeated that feat with exactly the same scoreline. Girona will be looking to counter-attack and playing quickly, trying to avoid the center and just stretch Barcelona out wide. They know that Barcelona are a team that would like to keep the ball central, so they won't be playing into that at all. Barcelona will probably be looking to dictate the tempo and slow the game down when it suits them and when they are in a strong position, or looking to rev up the tempo and play at frantic speeds with incisive passes whenever they are chasing a goal or they smell any weakness in Girona's defense. I think, though, when we sort of contrast that with the fact that Barcelona are right now missing so many of those central players who are important in this kind of play, it kind of does paint a very scary picture for the Blaugrana. They can no longer call on the services of Ilkay Gundogan following his return to Manchester City, and this is kind of the time where they need a player like Gundogan the most. Positives, though, for Barcelona, they're getting goals from everywhere. Everyone in the front line is getting goals. The midfielders are getting goals. Pedri is back as well. Lamine Yamal can go out there and just dazzle us on the wings. We're seeing a Barcelona that plays more direct now, so perhaps losing those midfield players won't really be that much of a negative for this team. When I look at Barcelona, I see individual superstars everywhere. When I look at Girona, I still see underdogs, players who aren't as highly rated but have proven that they can play with the big boys when it calls for it. However, my big issue for Girona is they will be looking forward to the Champions League this week when they meet PSG, and it will be a very difficult match for this team. So now they kind of have to prioritize what is more important, this La Liga fixture against Barcelona or their Champions League tie against PSG. And I think this is where those mind games start to play a role in this fixture. I think also looking at the goal output from Barcelona, all of these players who are just getting goals. I haven't even spoken about Lamine Yamal and the amount of assists that he's managed to accumulate so far. I think Barcelona go into this one still as favorites. I'm thinking Girona do score, though, because Barcelona have only kept a single clean sheet so far, being that one in that 7-0 win. But I do think that despite the fact that Girona score here, Barcelona outscore them. Just having all of these front players who are firing on all cylinders right now, who are able to get goals. Yes, the international break came at a time for Barcelona that wasn't exactly very ideal because it may have broken their run of these incredible wins. But I think still they'll have enough to churn out all 3 points here. And my final prediction for this one is going to be Girona 1, Barcelona 3. I think the Blaugrana just have the individual quality, the mentality, the drive, and the squad depth to just see themselves over the finish line despite the glaring amount of injuries plaguing this team. That is all we have time for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, do leave it a thumbs up. Feel free to use the comment section to discuss the match and the direction of both of these teams. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree, let me know as well. But please do remember to be respectful. If you have enjoyed our content so far and would like to see more, you should be seeing the subscribe button on the screen right now, along with some of our older videos. Perhaps give them a watch too. Maybe you might learn something, or you just might have a lot more fun than you intended to. Regardless, thank you so much for the support, guys. We really do appreciate it. Stay safe out there and have an awesome day.